And Bill Roggio joins us now. He is the senior fellow and editor of the Long War Journal at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Bill, welcome. So Assad's regime is over. What do you think is next for Syria, and what's at stake here?
Hello, and yeah, that is an excellent question. It's difficult to assess what's going to happen next. However, I suspect that the fighting isn't over. There's several factions. The Syrian so-called rebels aren't one united group. The group that ousted Assad, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, that is the al-Qaeda-linked group. Its leader was a member of al-Qaeda, and it still has relations with al-Qaeda leaders in Syria. That's the main faction. It's a Salafist jihadist organization that is looking to impose Sharia across Syria, despite what it claims now. Then you have the Syrian National Army, backed by Turkey, that wants to go after what's known as the Syrian Democratic Forces. That's really the Kurdistan Workers' Party, a terrorist organization backed by the U.S. So I don't see things holding together. At the very least, I would expect the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and the Syrian National Army to begin targeting the U.S.-backed factions. You're not going to have a united Syria here. Then you have the issue of chemical weapons and other weapons of mass destruction and other weapons systems that the Israelis are going to be targeting. The Israelis moved into that buffer zone. So I don't think the war in Syria is over. I just think the Assad chapter in this war has ended.
Yeah, Bill, what do you think the U.S. should do here? What should the tact be of the United States?
At the very least, do not support Hayat Tahrir al-Sham or the Syrian National Army. One is currently a special or a foreign terrorist organization, and its leader is a specially designated global terrorist. The other has jihadist organizations with its rank and file. The U.S. should not interfere except in cases of destroying chemical weapons or seizing chemical weapons. That is in our interest and in the world's interest to prevent them in falling in the hands of jihadists. I think the U.S. needs to reevaluate its position. There are U.S. troops in eastern Syria, and the U.S. needs to reevaluate whether they need to stay there. They're there to fight the Islamic State as well as to, so the U.S. has a force, a presence in eastern and northern Syria. But the question now is, how sustainable is that force? The U.S. should consider if it's going to stay, it needs to bolster its forces.
Yeah.
If the U.S. decides to leave, it needs to, it needs to do so carefully.
Bill, just about 30 seconds left, but what does this all mean for Israel?
Yeah, Israel has traded one enemy of the Iran-backed axis of resistance for another, a jihadist group that is no friend of Israel, despite what it may claim now. The leader, Jalani, has threatened the Israeli state within the last year. Jihadists don't like Israel and seek the end of the Israeli state.
All right, Bill Roggio with FDD. Always nice to see you, Bill. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.